They say a town dies when the school closes. Maybe that's true, but I think a place dies when the roads go quiet. Because when there's no one driving them anymore, no kids on school buses, no neighbors waving from their trucks, no Sunday traffic heading into town for church, the road stops being a road. It becomes a scar, a line carved into the land that doesn't lead anywhere human. That's what happened out here. It started small. The county used to send a grader every few months, scraping the gravel smooth, pushing the ruts back into place. You could hear it from a mile off, that low groan of diesel. You'd step out on the porch just to watch it roll past, a little reminder that somebody still knew that we existed out here. But one spring, the grader didn't come. By fall, the road was washboarded so bad, it shook the fillings out of your teeth. Potholes deep enough to swallow an axle. Harold's truck broke a tie rod in March, and he swore up and down the county was trying to kill him. We laughed then, a nervous laughter, but laughter all the same. By the next year, though, nobody was laughing. Funny thing was, right across the section line, AgriCorp had their own private road. Fresh asphalt, smooth as glass, stretching straight from their fields to the state highway. Their machines rolled on it day and night, headlights glowing, the tires humming like bees. Sometimes we'd drive past just to see it, just to feel what a real road felt like under the wheels again. My daughter would press her face to the window and whisper, "Why can't we have roads like that?" But I didn't have an answer. One winter, after a bad freeze, I loaded the family into the truck for a trip to town. Our supplies were running low. We had almost no flour, very little lamp oil, and we needed boots for the boy. The road was slick and rutted with ice. We bounced and skidded, the tires spinning, mud spraying the undercarriage. I gripped the wheel so tight that my knuckles cracked. Halfway there, we hit a pothole deep as a well. The truck lurched and slammed down hard, and for a heartbeat, I thought we'd rolled. My wife screamed, clutching the dash. The kids cried in the back. We limped the rest of the way on a bent rim, every mile feeling like a gamble. In town, the mechanic just shook his head. "The road'll kill more trucks than rust ever will," he said. And he was right. But trucks can be replaced. Families can't. That was the last winter we tried to make the trip as a family. And it wasn't just the danger, it was the silence. Used to be, you'd see neighbors on the road, trucks loaded with seed, tractors pulling balers, kids on bikes heading to school. You'd wave, maybe stop to talk, swap news about the rain or prices, or who just had a baby. But now there was nothing out there. The road stretched empty for miles, dust blowing across it like tumbleweeds. No waves, no laughter, no engines. It was just silence. At supper, my wife set down her fork. "We can't keep doing this." I chewed slow, listening to the tick of the clock on the wall. "The trips to town," she said, It's not safe anymore. Not for the kids. I wanted to argue, but I couldn't. She was right. Every trip risked breaking down, or worse. So what do we do? I asked. Her eyes met mine. They were tired and hollow. We stay home. Just 2 words. That's all it took to shrink our world down to a handful of smiles. Even the postman stopped coming regular. He used to drive the route 3 times a week. Then it was once a week. Then not at all. We asked the post office at town. The clerk just shrugged. It's budget cuts. Low volume. Can't justify the fuel anymore. So if we wanted our mail, we had to drive for it. Risk the potholes, and risk being stuck out there in the silence. I just stopped expecting letters after that. One spring, a neighbor tried to haul a load of barley into town. His trailer hit a rut, then the axle snapped. The load spilled across the road. He sat there for half the night, waiting for help that never came. No one even drove by, not one soul. Finally, he walked the 5 miles home. His boots were coated in mud. His face was pale as chalk. When I checked on him the next day, he just shook his head. It's not worth it anymore, he muttered. Not worth the road. He sold the barley to Agricorp for pennies on the dollar. They sent one of their trucks to pick it up. Smooth as glass on their private road. It was hardest on the kids. They used to ride bikes to the Johnson's place, play in the yard, chase each other down the lane, but the ruts grew too deep and the gravel too sharp. Tires always popped and chains broke. So they stayed close. The world of their childhood shrank to the yard, the barn, and the fence line. One night, my son asked, "Dad, why do the roads not work for us anymore?" I didn't know what to tell him because the truth was worse than silence. The first accident happened to the Carter family. They tried to make it into town with their youngest. Fever burning him up. The ruts bounced him around so bad in the back seat, he cried until he passed out. By the time they got to the clinic, he was gone. They said it was pneumonia, but we all knew it was the road. After that, fewer and fewer of us risked the trip. Sometimes I'd sit on the porch at night, just listening. Our road was silent, dead silent. But across the fields, I'd hear the hum of Agricorp's machines gliding smooth down their asphalt. Always moving, always alive. It was like listening to 2 worlds. Ours, which was fading into dust, and theirs, gleaming and untouchable. And I knew which one the county cared about. The final straw came one spring morning. I was driving into town alone. The truck was loaded with the last of our wheat, and the road was worse than I'd ever seen it. Mud sucking at the tires, potholes wide as craters. I hit one too hard, and the truck lurched forward. The tires were spinning. Even the frame was groaning. And for a moment, I thought I'd make it. But then came the snap. The axle broke clean through. The wheat spilled across the road. All the bags were splitting, and the grain was pouring into the mud. My year's work was just gone in an instant. I just sat there in the cab, hands gripping the wheel, staring at the horizon. Nobody came, not for hours. Finally, I climbed out. My boots were sinking in the muck, and I started walking home. The road was quiet, too quiet, and that's when I understood. The roads weren't breaking by accident, and they weren't neglected by mistake. They were being abandoned on purpose and left to rot until they rotted us out too. Because the system didn't need us anymore. It only needed the land. And the roads, they weren't meant for families. They weren't meant for children or neighbors or Sunday drives. They were meant for machines. And machines don't wave. And the machines don't stop. The machines don't sing hymns on the way to town. They just move. And the rest of us, we stayed behind, watching the roads go quiet.